Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another stream for tonight. Kind of just hopping into things because I got in a little bit late today. But let's go ahead and get started and see how things are going. In G4, Jade has taken over. Hal, MMR, Stud, and Dot were definitely forces to be reckoned with. We have kind of held them to this point for the most part, but we're done. I'll just go ahead and admit that we're done. Jade and Crimson have pushed back Golden all the way back to their space. We're kind of just holding here as best we can for points, not really succeeding too much at anything. Give me just 1 second. I don't want the music this loud on my end. Okay. I'm heading into G1. G1, we have Golden, ROK, kind of as expected, just dominating on both ends of the spectrum. They did get some assistance from Crimson there by the level 8, but most of it has been ROK pushing back against Jade and against Azure fairly well. I mean, this one was one-sided to begin with. ROK didn't have any other alliances that had the field presence that they can bring. They had other players that had that kind of power, but other than alliances like Boone, HNB, and those that can actually bring that field presence, ROK didn't have anyone to go up against like that. Now, here we have Jade and HNB pushing back against DHX. They have essentially taken over all of it. BTW is still pushing back against DHX up here in the north, which probably allowed HMB all of Jade the leeway that they needed to push back against them here. Azure didn't have anyone that could really stand up against the likes of HMB and their allies, so it was already this again. Once it was a 2v1 with Crimson and Jade versus Golden, that was pretty much the end of it. I know DHX and Golden put up a hell of a fight. We got to watch quite a bit of that yesterday, and if it comes down to it, I don't think that Golden will have an issue pushing back against Crimson on their own. However, I can't imagine that they want to fight just for fighting's sake at this point, unless they're just going for ranks. Heading into G3. G3 was actually given to Jade. Azure and... I need to see what the matchups were here. Archipelago Raid Battle Review for G3 was Golden and Crimson versus Jade and Azure. So I'm trying to figure out what the reasoning is here. Yeah, Smoke Alt G1 matchmaking was a joke. ROK should not have been by themselves, essentially, in that matchmaking. Actually, let me go into G3 one more time, because that still blows my mind. Because Boone has this. There's literally nothing. Yeah, there's quite literally nothing stopping Boone from taking this level 8 from them at any point. So unless they were wanting to just give up the first capture rewards and then take it from them later, or vice versa, and just avoid fighting and prepare for stuff, I don't get it. They're just doing field fights now. This is so weird. I mean, Boone's done this kind of thing before, I guess. Where they've just like, okay, we're done fighting. Here's something for you, here's something for us. Everybody wins some rewards. That's the end of it. So Azure gets nothing. Crimson has the rewards that they've already gotten for playing. No one's really fighting anymore. This is so weird. I will go ahead and admit there's probably not going to be a lot going on today. Like Island Raid before, all the fighting's done as quickly as possible. Here it appears that Jade and Crimson, yeah, this is ours. Yeah, Jade and Crimson really went to town. I'd love to say that we could have held up a little bit longer, but, and I won't vent my frustrations about what happened here. Just take it on the chin and go. Just, we had a plan in mind. Some people didn't follow that plan. I'll just leave it at that. G5, Jade has it. And Jade Crimson really putting in work against Azure and Golden. Then again, Jade had the likes of H-Loon, Duff. Trying to think. Azure, that's not any names I've really seen before. Hats, it was impressive enough for me. I was definitely impressed by some of the defenses I saw from them. But these in Golden, I haven't seen them before. So, all kind of new to me here. G6, I was disappointed but not surprised. I mean, I wanted Jade to be able to do a lot better because they had my old alliance, old region mates in there. But when they kind of screwed themselves fighting against Azure early on in the game, there's not really much you can do. And they got pushed all the way back, which reminds me, I need to check on. I wonder if he's still around. Well, it's not hot 9, it's too hot. Need to check on him this time around and see how he did. Let's go ahead and check out G7. G7 was definitely overwhelmed by Azure Jade, which is honestly surprising. I know I've seen LTF do really well. Okay, there are some names that I recognize in Azure. Not really much I recognize in Jade. Nothing from Crimson except maybe TPO, but getting knocked back all the way to your regions in almost both cases. Golden hasn't come up here, and I don't think Crimson's going to try and push them. At least I wouldn't imagine they would. They're still fighting over resources, though. Still fighting over resources. Anyways, onward to G8. Okay, this one is definitely gold and crimson, with alliances like OU, Triple U, Mine, Chaos, ones I've seen before, up against Fucked. I do recognize Fucked, but the rest of these are fairly new to me. God X, but they're kind of a split alliance. Noxy I've seen before, but they've been pushed all the way back to their region. They really need to change up how they do this, because if there's any sort of fighting between the alliances early on, it creates one-sided matchups for Phase 2, which, let's be honest, are just really boring. I know we want fighting on every day, and there's ways to do that. Honestly, I'm debating whether or not I want to kind of cut this stream and just make that video as a sort of suggestion to the developers tonight, which I may just focus my stream on that today. Anyways, Jade and Azure definitely winning this one. There might be a little bit of action up here. Yeah, no one... I don't know why they're stopping at the checkpoints. Checkpoints are like the worst place to stop. For anyone that doesn't know, stopping your defense at a checkpoint, to me, is a bad idea. Because while it is a fairly easily defensible location, because you can just stack your troops behind it and only send rallies through, the problem with it is it's high death count. I wish it would say it here, but checkpoints, defense, and offense is almost a 100% death rate. If you have any heavily wounded troops fighting at a checkpoint, they will die. There's really nothing you can do about it. So this heavily favors offense fights, simply because on offense you're already expecting to lose troops. I believe you keep like 30% of them normally. So dropping down to 0 doesn't really do anything for you, but when garrisons can normally keep about 60% of their troops, to be dropped all the way down to 0. And the aid station rate for Archipelago rate is only 65%. So, well, 70 if you have the buff, but again, it's not something you want to have to deal with. On to G9. No, this is the one I just looked at. In G8. My bad. Yeah, Crimson and Golden talk about taking over the entire map, because that's pretty much what they did here. Short of taking a couple of towers, they have accomplished conquering the entire map. Azure gets nothing. If Crimson really wants to, they have enough time to take this level 6 from Jade. But the only ones that have treasure cities, they have the most towers, they have locked the other legions behind their gates for the most part. This was a complete domination. Complete domination. We'll look at a couple more. Oh, no. I know Ian would love to see his own. Here in G19, we have Golden and Azure really conquering the map here in the same way. Crimson was locked back in their own region. Jade is almost locked back into theirs. Almost. Not entirely, so they can say things like, hey, we still made a couple of towers outside of it, but they do not own any towers, they don't own any space, and it's not like they would be able to take anything from them. Let me check the Discord channel and see if okay, there was one more. Region 36. Okay, Region 36, Crimson Golden. Looks like Jade still has some territory, but I don't know what the goal is here. Jade gets back their level 7 treasure city if they fight against Azure in the open field? Like, what's the goal here? Because it looks as if Crimson is still trying to push. Not really any reason to push. This one is definitely over. A couple new friends. Wave to new friends. Okay. Sadly, with this one, I don't really think there's going to be anything else going on. By the time this has already happened, most regions have been fighting for pretty much the entire day, and any gains that they planned on making, they're already made. Once these level 6 checkpoints open, it's the floodgates. Everything hits as quickly as possible. I was glad I was able to catch a lot of that fighting with you all yesterday, but it doesn't look like there's going to be much of anything going on today. Let's see if we can see anything going on. I don't think this gives us any notifications of fighting going on at the level 8s. Damn, talk about a complete domination from Jade. And I'll go through a few of these in a video congratulating those alliances that performed well. This is also a domination by Azure Legion. Really nice. Always nice to see when most of the map can be one color. That being said, I don't think there's anything else to be done about Archipelago Raid. I would love to say that there's going to be a lot more fighting today, but that's just not the nature of this one. On that note, I will go over my idea again, as well as probably make a separate video about it before the map completely closes, because it's easier to explain with the tactical map. So, tactical sandbox. Just to describe this again, and hopefully anyone up top can give me suggestions on how this can go differently. But first things first, remove the Crimson and Azure Legion areas off the map. Don't need them. Start each Legion in the corners and take these towers and put them in the center. Each legion's objective for the first 1 or 2 days is to come down here to the center and try and take over. You can have them fight here, you can have them fight for the treasure city, give them multiple places to fight. The goal is to get them to fight. If you win this building, the level 7 treasure city, or win both of them, then you are allied with this side. You are then paired with the loser of these two alliances. So you have your alliance left and the weaker of the two alliances on this side. What this does is it will give incentive for the fighting on both sides to be geared towards wiping the other alliance out. That way, you're giving your enemy a much weaker ally to work with. And it guarantees that both sides will fight, because it's better to fight 1-on-1 than it is to fight 2-on-1 or 2-on-2. Say, for example, if only one side comes down here and picks up these buffs, and the other alliance doesn't even move, which, let's be honest, even if only 1 or 2 alliances from the Legion move, they will, but not everyone is going to stay behind the lines. So you've got a situation where both sides are incentivized to fight. And even if one side says, nah, I don't want to fight too much, they're still leaving the stronger alliance in a better position to assault the center, even if the weaker legion comes over here and gets paired. The only potential downside I see to this is if both sides decide not to fight. And then it's up to the algorithm to pick one or the other. In which case, whoever gets paired with the loser from the opposite side is screwed. Which, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to get screwed. And once both sides have decided who's with who, you get the ability to have your weaker alliance get moved back into this back region and help move and help push forward as a singular unit. That's the thing that I really want to change about this. Because once the factions are made and the two legions are paired together, there's not any way to actually work together within helping each other rally, helping each other push with towers. You can't build off of each other. It's just, oh, these two happen to not be able to hit each other anymore. And that's it. Sure, you can get rewards for helping each other out, but if there were ways to help each other's rallies and stuff like that, I think it would be a bit more interesting for the open field, and even if they left it in the current situation. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. With next week starting Recovery of Pompeii, and we've got this new event with Graffiti Reborn, spray paint, and ink tracking, which is, we know what this is. It's the same thing we've seen so many times. I feel like once a month we get one of these. Just go through, defeat your zombies, which there's no limit on zombies this time. And I'll make a video separately on this, because there's a lot of, you get points for hive minds, resource gathering, shelter collection, radar station, merchants, and defeating zombies with no limit on the zombies. You should be able to max this out without an issue and get plenty of training speed ups at the end. To all of you who joined my Pompeii stream this morning, thank you. That was great. We had some great matchmaking this time, and I think it was due to the fact that our opponent was probably worn out from Archipelago raid. honestly, I'd like to see. Yeah, the battle report did very well. I want to see. Yeah, this was our third win in a row. We actually fought against Drapon, who was a 7-time champion. But by the end of it, they were already pulling people out. They had a full team when they started. I think they had 29 participants by the end of it. But once they realized they didn't have the troops to beat us, they left. I want to see what the rankings are. Anyways. This poor thing's not going to be pretty. Yeah, as we'll watch one of these go down, simply because, I'll be honest, I was hoping to see some more. I couldn't get on at reset because I was watching 6 kids at the time. My 4 and 2 more. So I apologize I wasn't here at reset to see the level 8 fights. But I can at least watch one of these shelters get destroyed. And then I'm going to cut the stream off and make a couple of videos with congratulations to those who succeeded, as well as my explanation of this particular mess. Oh boy. Oh no. Not a Leon Garrison. No. Oh, for those of you that don't know, if you can see that some of the people coming in now aren't able to actually deal damage, that is because there is a hard limit of 10 marches on a single target. Shelters, this applies to shelters as well. If you get in there and you're the 11th person, it'll look like you're hitting it, but you cannot be affected by the shelter's counter damage because you're not actually dealing damage to it. Oh, and they're just, poor guy's getting zeroed. Damn. But anyways, yeah, there's not going to be too much going on, and since I didn't set this up as a dedicated Q&A session or anything like that, I don't want to hold you all here to watch nothing. So I'm going to make some videos tonight. Probably get the developer feedback, the developer feedback one out tonight, the Archipelago raid idea, and maybe one pointing out that there should be no reason people aren't getting this. So I apologize for cutting this short. I will be back for Dark Seal next week. I still will be streaming those. There may be some adjustments on my times moving forward. I'm trying to basically get brownie points with my wife so that I can get on stream, especially at the beginning of the events, the beginning of certain days, at reset. Because let's be honest, that's when stuff mostly happens. For Dark Seal, for the beginning of towards the beginning of Archipelago raid, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen shortly after the event starts. So, trying to work on brownie points there. But I will let you know of any schedule changes I have for those events. But with that, I just don't see any reason to make you all hang out with me here for the rest of the evening. I will be making those videos for you tonight, though. Bear with me. With that, this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.